Hello and welcome. This is Laurie Mitchell, and you're listening to the Members Webcast, the weekly webcast that we do on Thursdays. Thank you for stopping by and listening either to the replay or being here live. This is going to be a shorter webcast tonight, but I just wanted to make sure that at least we could still touch base because there's a lot going on in the world. And I mean energetically as well as what is happening with people around the world. There are a lot of protests going on just as we do this recording, and they're peaceful protests, but there is a difference in the way people are behaving and responding to the way the world is. So I just want to touch base with that. But today what I also want to do is share with you something that goes beyond the logical and pragmatic stance that I usually take that is completely explainable and researched. I really want to share the experience that I've had in the last week in terms of the unexplainable. And I'm just going to be authentic and transparent, and it's not mainstream tonight. I wish I had lots of logic. I can certainly logically explain to the best of my ability what it feels like from my perspective. But this, whatever is happening, is beyond my five senses. And so we are not going to get logic, but I can certainly give you explanations. And I have spoken to many people this week and asked for their experiences, and that's what I'm getting from almost everyone that I speak to. So I just want you to know, first of all, that you are not alone in this, that there's something going on, and what I can tell you is that it feels like a real shift in how life is going to continue for all of us. I'm not talking about the world. This is not fear-based. It's that it's a done deal. Whatever possibilities that we had in front of us a week ago, some of those possibilities have collapsed. In other words, we have made some choices and some decisions, and enough of us have made the choices and the decisions, have had the awareness, have chosen sides, and that's what deciding is, deciding one side or the other. Or we have seen the contrast to our values and have chosen, or things have happened in our lives to force us, even sometimes painfully, to a point of having to choose. And so we can sit in this feeling of uncertainty and be uncomfortable, or we can learn from those that have come before us, like I've spoken before about Christchurch and Japan, that they are faced every day with this, that they don't know how things are going to turn out. And for us, there are not only possibilities that have collapsed, which means it just basically means unused roads that are not going to be necessary anymore, and so they're just collapsing because we're not going to need them for where we're going. But what I have heard is that several people I've talked to have had meditations where they've had this kind of blackness come in, and they felt it was fine, like they sent light and love to it. And sometimes the void, the not knowing what's next, the stepping through a doorway into a new possibility, first of all takes you to a hallway, which then gives you new possibilities. And the hallway may be dark in terms of it's your choice which way you go. You have to feel your way through this, and sometimes you have to crawl your way through it to be able to find the doors that are next. So it's all fine. It's all okay. However, whatever happened before this, we've now stepped into a different way of looking at life. And we've stepped into a different set of possibilities. The way I described it was, it felt like a reboot in the Matrix. It felt ungrounded. And I'm very grounded in my reality, and as much as I use my imagination to speed up manifestation and to connect to my imagination, to connect to a future while I'm still in another place, and then having the energies connect to that. That's that part of the speed manifesting method. That's the out of time part of it. This was different. This wasn't just using my imagination. This was something that was like a reboot in the Matrix. It was that something has happened, and if we ever get an explanation, that's fine, but the reality is here we are. And whatever possibilities we had available to us a week ago are not available anymore. Not whatever. I mean, some of those possibilities are not available because they're obsolete. Okay? They're just obsolete. They're redundant. So we move on. However, you have to look at now whatever intentions you wrote down for your life, whatever was on your list of goals for this year's diary, whatever dream board you had, you need to restate it. Because what you've done is you've changed trains and you've left your baggage behind, and now you need to do some shopping. Let's just say they lost your luggage, okay? You need to do some shopping. And it's right down to you need to get your toothbrush and your toothpaste and stuff. Okay, so this is just a, hey, let's just reset your intentions as if it's new. And you choose some of the ones you might have had a week ago on your lists, but you look at and reprioritize them based on an open future, new possibilities, or not knowing. And what that does usually is brings us closer to home, brings us closer to our communities, our own communities, and connecting to those, as well as closer to our own light, our own heart light, so that we can look at what's important to us, what we bring meaning to, and what our identities are going to be, our personal identity that we carry with us, what's that going to be going forward? So you can walk away from your identity, or you can form it yourself through your beliefs and then attach it to who you think you are. But if it's a time for you to look at the identity of who you think you are and who you want others to see you to be, and that you've got work to do to move into that expansion of who you are, now's the time to design. So the reality around you is there. The architect has come along and done it beautifully. What I noticed in the last week in my conversations with people and in my experience of life is that, yes, the architect has done a wonderful job. The details of life are there, but there are a few weird things that were missed out in the details. And for me personally, it's things like just unusual experiences, and slightly unusual, but unusual enough to make me think something's up. One of the things that happened was I got this beautiful experience on our backyard beach of glowing blue water when it moved. So it felt like we were in Pandora. And my family and I went out, and this is in the black of night with no moon. It was the new moon. And so it was very dark, and here was this water that was lighting up as we moved it or as we ran along the shore, just like in Pandora. It was fabulous. And I have had an experience similar to that 25 years ago in Greece with the waves. It's a blue algae. And yet here we are now. That was the first one. Then we started getting some new wildlife coming to our lake where we live. Black swans. We had 4 today. We've been here almost a year. We've never seen them. For the 6 years I've been in Australia, I just haven't seen black swans, although I've seen them in New Zealand. It just was something that was a new occurrence after 6 years. The other unusual thing was that, well, there were a few more, but one of them was that the night that it happened, which was between Monday and Tuesday, was that I was about to read a story to my 13-year-old son, and he was coming down the hallway to come into his room with me, and he said, "Mom, is this a dream or is this real? I'm confused." Now that shocked me so much, and I giggled, and I said, no, this is a reality. It's one reality, but it's definitely the one that you're definitely here. But it was like, that's it. He said what it felt like. But some moments. Although I absolutely feel this is reality. I haven't gone anywhere. There's no delusion here. The same people are showing up in my life. It's like they're acting different. And if you felt this, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you're probably relieved that it's not just you, or that there's more of an explanation. I think it's better we all talk about this, and especially if we haven't had spiritual experiences before, that we're going along in life very logically, but open to possibilities, and then suddenly we have this kind of a feeling that things are weird. So definitely a new experience for me. I'm usually quite grounded, know exactly where reality ends and begins, and so it was delightful, but it was a little unsettling. So my suggestion to you is writing down anew that dream life, writing down anew that list of intentions that you have for your life, for the bigger possibilities in life. If you want to even go out further and say for the universe, for your legacy, for the next 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, or 300 years. Whatever it means for you, have a look at what it means for you. Just spend some quiet time in a thinking chair if you're not one to meditate. But certainly you can meditate and then just pull the energy from the ground and from you to the ground, and then just ground yourself, connect, and allow that to get you fully into this so that you can move forward powerfully. Now there's a neat technique that I learned. I'm sorry, I don't remember where I learned it from, but it was very useful, and that is go to sunrise, and at the moment of sunrise, right on a flat horizon, stare at the sun. It's the only time of the day that we have where we can actually look into the sun at any length of time. And what that means is that you are resetting your Earth GPS system. So effectively, if you took your GPS system and you went to another country, it wouldn't work very well until you loaded up some new software and new maps and said where you were. Well, that's kind of what's going on. So very useful exercise if you can actually get to the horizon at sunrise and stare at the sun. It's just for a minute or two, not staring at the sun even, but just, for several seconds, 14, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it is, and you just stare at the sun. Enjoy the sunrise. But what that does is it connects the energy of the sun and the earth through you. And basically, from the moment you were born, you had a GPS system set down at that point in the earth. And if you have moved anywhere since you were born, the earth has been scattering the energy to try and find you. It has to locate you each time. And so then the sun does as well. And of course, our source of life is from the both of those, from the earth and from the sun. And so so the point of contact is you. You are the child of the earth because you eat of her soil and her vegetables and everything that comes from the earth. And the sun is the energy that feeds you as well. So if you can imagine, if you've moved a lot, this exercise is fabulous, because for me, I was born in Detroit, moved to Texas, moved to Toronto, Canada, moved to Christchurch, New Zealand, and now live in the Gold Coast of Australia. And I've never thought about anything like this, but when I did this exercise, it was just very settling. It was a calming, very settling time for me, and I'm so glad I did it. So I'm going to be doing that this week at the first clear sunrise as well. But I definitely recommend it, and this is all good news. There may be some things happening around you, even in your own family or your own friendship circle, where people are unsettled as well. Just understand that they don't know what's going on, and they don't have any frame of reference for it. So be kind to them in this transition until everybody's energy gets grounded, I should say, gets regrounded and really gets firm into the earth. And that may not be until everybody starts making new choices. in the physical reality until their actions are carried forward as we open up new possibilities and say, ooh, what's going to happen next? So I know that no matter what happens in the next weeks or months, that I watched Christchurch, New Zealand, that I and my friends and family there go to community, go to sharing, go to all the best aspects of humanity in times of complete uncertainty and insecurity in all of their life. They didn't know where their water was going to come from. And the dignity of man had to be thrown out the window. And I'm sure in Japan it was the same and is the same. They don't have the security that we have been so used to. So I hope that is enlightening for you today. I hope it's a good message for you that you got at the perfect time when you were wondering what was going on and we were starting to feel a bit, it almost feels lightheaded sometimes. It's not just being in two realities. We've been lifted up and put someplace else. It's a very strange feeling, and I'm sure you totally understand what I'm talking about. If you've really been aware of not just the energies, but the physical reality around you being a bit weird, and people being a bit different, and nature showing you new things. It almost feels like it's a different planet. But it's great. And it feels weird and it's challenging at times because of everybody else, but at the same time, just hang in there. Do what you need to do energetically, because you're the one that's getting this message. Make it useful. Because you're the one that's getting this message. Either take the message to other people who need to hear it, or take it so that you are the one that grounds whatever you need to. And even if you don't feel this way, well, having a sunrise walk and enjoying the sunshine is probably going to be very useful anyway for you. It's wonderful to connect to the energy of the earth. All right, so that's it for today. This is Laurie Mitchell, and if you'd like more information about speed manifesting, you're certainly welcome to go to the website and learn more on the 7 Steps video. It's a companion to the book that I have that's available at Lulu or at Amazon. And best place to find out about that is at www.speedmanifesting.com. Thanks for stopping by today.